There's more to be seen than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. Some say eat or be eaten, some say live and let live, but all are agreed as they join the stampede. You should never take more than you give in the circle of life. It's a wheel of fortune, it's a leap by faith, it's a band of hope.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Alchemist Theater, where we know that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It must be transformed. Now, historically, an alchemist was a metaphysician who transformed base metals into gold, and tonight we are here to transform fear into love. Can I get an amen? Woo, do you feel the spirit in this room right now? Man. Tonight's theme is family. And no matter your belief in God, whether you call God a he, she, or an it, if you think nature is God, or you're not really into the God thing, you're just here for H Andersen or the baby, or you're just here to to manifest a better version of yourself. It's all good with us. Our only goal for you tonight is for you to feel something. There's a message in this room for you tonight. It's going to come through a song lyric, through something in a sermon, through a prayer, through a meditation, through an intuition, a feeling, a healing, miraculous moment that you get in the next 90 minutes. Search for it, find it, open your heart to it because it is real. The alchemy is real. This is not just a show. This is a space for you to truly transform. That being said, I invite you to an invocation. Sit back, relax, and truly tune in to this song.
Oh, perilous place, walk backwards toward you, blink disbelieving eyes, chill to the bone, most visibly brave, no apprehending. First to take this bird to virgin small. I am a magnet for all kinds of deep wonderment. I am a wonder kind. Oh, oh, oh. I live the envelope pushed far enough to believe this. I am a prince on the way to my throne, distant to serve.
Oh, woman's place, spellbound and unchildbereaved, my least favorite shelter, bare alone. Compatriots in face, they'd cringe if I told you our best back pocket secret, our bond for blood, yes. And I am a magnet for all kinds of deep wonderment. I am a wonder kind. Oh, oh, oh. I am a pioneer, naive enough to believe this. I am a prince on the way to my throne,
Distant to serve, distant to roam.
If you haven't already done so, please close your eyes, uncross your body, take things off your lap, and begin to breathe deeply. The breath is the fuel of the prayer magic. We do magic in this room, brothers and sisters, and we do it through our intention and our words and our hearts. Something led you into this room tonight. What is that thing on your heart or your mind that you are seeking a healing around? Something you need an answer to, a direction that you need to be shown. Just think about it. The theme tonight is family. And if I've learned anything recently, it's that every family struggles. Every family has hurdles to break through. What is your hurdle? Whatever that is, let's head out of the mind and take that problem as we see it into the heart, the furnace of the alchemist. Let's move into our hearts and allow these words to transform whatever it is that brought you here tonight. Father, Mother, God, Holy Spirit, Mama Gaia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
God, only your vision knows the way. And we release our fears and our anxiousness around perceived futures. And we surrender our life to you now.
Release, oh, God.
God, your love is good. And I know that your love brings me in the highest direction of my life, always. I ask now that all barriers be removed from all of our hearts that stand in the way of receiving our highest good. God, we move out of the driver's seats of our lives and we hand over control to you. We affirm that all of our prayers are answered. The miracles we seek are here right now. We breathe them in.
Breathe them in, oh Lord, I breathe them in.
God bless this show that we may all receive the healing that we seek tonight. Lay peace upon this house. Lay peace upon our hearts. Thank you for choosing us to do this work, God. And so it is. Amen.
Most beautiful place, reborn and blown off the roof.
People bow face where the will be done. I am a magnet for all kinds of deep wonderment. I am a wonder kind. Oh, oh, oh. And I am a groundbreaker, naive enough to believe this. I am a prince on the way to my throne. I am a magnet for all kinds of deep wonderment. I am a wonder kind. Oh, oh, oh. I am a Joan of Arc and small enough to believe this. I am a prince on the way to my throne. Destined to reign. Destined to reign. Destined to rule. Destined to reign. Destined to
Long before I moved out west and became a performing professor, I had this whole other life. I grew up in a Catholic, very traditional East Coast family, straight middle class, just outside Philly, PA. And while I consider myself a Westerner, a Nevadan these days, and my accent has all but disappeared, every now and again it comes back. When I talk to my siblings on the phone, or when I go back east to visit. I've been reflecting on this idea of embracing my roots a little bit more, and as such, I found myself slipping back into my accent just deliberately for kicks, and even exaggerating it for comedic effect around the house to where it became this kind of alter ego that would show up as the situation demanded. Oh, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Joey, just off of Patterson Avenue from South Philly. How you doing, everybody? How you doing? Woo! Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Sorry, folks, that was obligatory. I had to say that. I've been waiting like 36 years to say that, okay? All right, now, it's very lovely to be here, and the theme being family, I found it rather synchronistic and interesting that last Sunday at Mass, this being the time period of Lent, Father Mancini gave a reading of the Prodigal Son tale. And, well, let me say that Father's delivery of the tale was, how shall I put this politely, dry. And truth be told, I fell asleep through half of it. But I was inspired enough to go back and revisit the tale and reflect on its greater meaning a little bit more deeply and intimately. Now, for all of you heathens out there unfamiliar with the parable of the prodigal son, let me give you a little brief synopsis, okay? So, father's got two brat sons. Younger brat goes up to his dad and says, "Yo, Pops, I know you're still alive and everything, but what do you say you kick me down my inheritance? I got this urge to explore the far country. It's time for me to blow this pretzel factory." Now, the father barely even reacts to the rampant entitlement of his son and says, "Sure, here you go. Enjoy yourself." Younger son proceeds to go off into the far country, wastes his inheritance on hookers and booze, ends up a hungry beggar, distressed, returns to his father and says, "Dad, I done screwed the whole thing up. Turns out I'm a shithead that don't know nothing." And the father says, "Oh, well, I still love you anyway. Come here, son. In fact, let's celebrate. Let's have a party. Let's have a feast. Let us cook the supremest of cheesesteaks, dress up in our finery, and celebrate the fact that you are alive and well." Now, the oldest son is off in the field working, sees some kind of commotion, and gets the scoop from a servant about what's going on, proceeds to sulk like a little crybaby. The father notices, comes out and says, "Hey, let us rejoice, for your younger brother who was lost is now found." And the tale ends there. Now, most interpretations of the prodigal son tale tend to focus on the younger son's entitlement and the father's compassion and love. And while that's true, I want to focus on the older son who, mind you, does not make an appearance until the party starts. And he doesn't go to his father for an explanation, no. He goes to a servant, proceeds to throw a little hissy fit, hoping that daddy will notice. Now the father, whom we can take to represent God here, in his ever-patient wisdom, comes out and says, "Son, you look rather distressed. What can I do for you?" And the older son goes, "Dad, I've been working this field my entire life, ain't never transgressed, and you ain't never thrown me no party. Where's my supreme cheesesteak, huh?" And so the father says, "Hey, listen, I know that you're worried about your inheritance. Now, let's look at the older son's motives here. He worked all these years in the field. Why? For the joy of the work? Oh no, because he had expectation of reward. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten all bent out of shape when the youngest son showed up and was throwing a party. He wouldn't have gone all, "Oh, where's my party?" Now the father also reacts and says, "All right, why don't you step outside your selfish brain for 2 seconds? Okay, realize that your younger brother, whom we thought for dead, is now returned. And not only that, he has returned with the necessary attitudinal adjustment." And let us rejoice. Now, the tale ends there, and we never get the oldest son's reaction, but we can rightly interpret that he gets the message, quits his bitchin', and joins the party in good spirits. We can interpret this based off of the existing structure of the parable. Now, one thing I believe that the parable is saying is that it's just as wasteful or prodigal for the oldest son to work all those years for the wrong reason as it is for the youngest son to gallivant around town like a little man whore, right? So, when we look at the meaning of this parable, we can take it a little bit further to a greater thesis, if you will. I believe that the parable, the prodigal son, represents the basic underlying story structure for most stories that exist. You got some bullheaded protagonist who wants to set out on his own, saying, I'm going to do this on my own, proceeds to screw the whole thing up, needs to turn to others for help. If you're a religious person, that means you turn to God. If you're an un-Catholic heathen, that means you turn to your brethren, your community for help. And guess what, folks? That is when the magic happens, when you turn to others for help. And with that, we close our reading of the prodigal son tale. I'm told that the custom around here is to say, and so it be. Amen. Thank you.
All right. We're alive. Day 17, the baby is alive. Look, and he is just chilling right now. Eyes open. Oh, that's a little bright, huh? Okay. So, I'm tired. I didn't write a sermon for tonight. And last night at rehearsal, I had a boob out and didn't know until I saw my reflection in that window back there. Thanks for letting me know, Brad. If I have a boob out, you guys let me know. Okay. So tonight's theme is family, and it's an extra special show because my family is in town from the East Coast tonight. Stand up, you guys. Approximately how many photos have you taken of Aslan? Okay. It's pretty cute. So if you don't know, Aslan is his name. Aslan is the king of Narnia in the Chronicles of Narnia, and it means lion. It actually means lion, and thus the theme tonight. So for the theme of family, my family, for about 7, 8, a really long time now, every time I talk to my dad and mom, they're like, so when are you and Joe having kids? When are you and Joe having kids? That's why I stopped answering the phone for a couple of years. And I said, when you move to Reno. Because that was our block. Joe and I, Professor DAYLOVER. Oh, bless you. Oh, I have spit up going down my cleavage right now. I'm a mother. Yay. So the reason that Joe and I really believed, and Joe is 37, so he's like, I'm getting old, babe. And I'm like, we can't have a baby because we don't have any family in Reno. And we were so scared. Like, if my parents aren't here to be grandparents, like, we can't have a baby because we can't do this on our own. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. I've got hormones just raging through me right now. And so for about 5 years, the fear was we cannot have a baby because we do not have family in Reno. And I could talk for the next 10 minutes about how that turned out to not be the case, but instead I'm just going to show you. So here we go. So I know it's a creepy picture of Mark. He looks like Dr. Kevorkian right there. So we're starting the journey. I had a home birth. I was one of the very lucky women who got to have a home birth, and it was incredible. And I had the most incredible home birth team, most superhero midwives you've ever seen in your life. And the first thing that happened was that my family showed up. So this is Mark, who is a very dear family member to Alchemists. You heard him tonight on stage, yes. Yes, please applaud for Mark. we have missed him so much. Tonight's show was literally something I've been praying for over a year, and I credit this little king here. So this is Mark giving me my IV. My water broke, I needed an IV, and I had a family member put it in. Next slide. So this is more of my family, you guys. These are my friends belly dancing with me as early labor was kicking in. I'm showing you the photo and not the video. So this is about I had a 22 and a half hour labor. My friends were there the whole way. My family, I should say. So this is like, I don't even know, halfway through, 6.5 centimeters-ish. And this is my family holding space. And now my blood family is glued to their phones back home in the Midwest and the East Coast. And my Reno family is in this room with me. There they are, not being bored. I'm in hell. And they're just sitting there because that's what family does. So then we had a worship session that lasted God knows how long. It was incredible. Mark singing and Chris drumming and Professor DAYLOVER on piano and my friend sleeping in the chair in the back. All right, so the sun had come up by this point. This is the moment after 22 and a half hours that he came out. And you can see Mark and Joe sharing that moment with me. The first person to come over the next morning was my brother, the one blood family member I do have. He was the first person to come see Aslan. And then came my wife. And then came my bestie. And then came my other husband. And I was like, take your shirt off, you have to do skin to skin. We want to confuse them about who his, family is. And this is the modern day manger scene, everyone. Doritos and all. There's my boys. And in this moment, taking this photo, I was like, I can't believe I thought I didn't have any family here. There's Reverend Divine, shirt off in the bed. Chris has been by every single day since his birth. There he is. This is my family. So then stuff got real. And let's see, I think we're getting there. Oh, there's Uncle Eric. Okay, so here's where stuff got real, day 4. I wasn't producing enough milk. And no, I don't want to talk about it. I wasn't producing enough milk. And I didn't know what to do. And so I did the only thing I know how to do is I asked for help. I posted on Facebook. Motherhood confession number 1, I need help. 119 comments. Do you see that in the bottom right corner? 119 comments. Within less than 24 hours, I had a freezer full of breast milk. From people I didn't even know, that my midwives knew, so we knew their health history, but these women, I didn't know them, but they were family, and they donated milk. And then I said, I need help making food that might help produce lactation. And the next thing that happened was, so here's a freezer full of donated breast milk and soup from Gino the Soup Man, who's in the audience tonight, yeah. Uncle Gino. And then Uncle Bass Joe made me a lactation-producing frittata. He called it a lactata. And he's texted me every day, do you need more lactata? Do you need more lactata? Can I hold your baby? This is Uncle Joe. This is Aunt Shelley. I met her in birth class I had only known her for 3 weeks. She has made me 3 vegan pot pies and has been at the house to hold the baby. There's Granny C. She made me a lactation-producing tea that was tasted like the earth, but I drank it up, and she said she blessed it for titty milk. This is one of my shaman sisters, Linda, who came over, made me a meal, and then the next day we started finding meals on our porch. And I didn't know who it was from, and then I figured out Linda's been making me meals and leaving them on my porch. Here's Uncle Gino again, coming over to hold Aslan. So this is a girl I don't know. I just met her. She was a student of Professor DAYLOVER's at UNR. She saw that I needed help with milk. The problem was even though I asked for help, I had trouble receiving it. It started to inundate me, and I instantly shut down, and I thought, there are so many more women in this world who need this help more than I do. I can't possibly accept it. So I asked for help, and then I couldn't receive it anymore, and I freaked out. And I called my midwife because I currently have a codependent relationship with her. I think that happens after a 22-and-a-half-hour labor and she catches your baby. And this woman is like my hero, and she said, "Why are you having trouble receiving help?" And I said, "I don't deserve it. There are so many more people who deserve it more." And she said, "You have spent 9 years in this city building a community around you. It is now time for you to receive the fruits of that labor. You are a community builder. Now shut up and receive your community." And then she said the most profound thing to me. She said, "When you stop someone from helping you, you take away their connection as well as your own. And who are you to take away someone else's connection?" And 2 minutes later, I get this message from this girl asking if she can donate breast milk on a weekly basis. She wants to start pumping for the DAYLOVER family. And then she said, "Thank you for letting me help you." Why do we cage ourselves off? Why are most of us afraid to even ask for help? And then why are the rest of us afraid to even receive the help that wants to come in? Are we punishing ourselves? And sometimes you have to think of it from another point of view, like, yeah, I can punish myself, but the second I started to think of it as I'm ruining that connection for someone else as well, man, it really, really took me into the heart, and it made me ask, what is going on this earth right now? You know, one of the most amazing things that happened after my post, my phone started going off. I posted that, 119 comments came in. Most of them came in via private message. All of a sudden, girls I went to high school with, started messaging me saying, I couldn't produce either, and I suffered alone. One of my own family members told me that she failed to produce, and I had no idea. I had no idea because no one's talking about it. And every single one of these messages said I was too afraid and ashamed to tell anyone, and I was too afraid to ask for help. When we don't reach out for help, we stop the connection of family God is trying to weave in our lives. Family is not just blood, there is also a chosen family. And in God, we are one family, yes? We are one family. And when we stop those connections, we break the web that God is trying to weave through the ways that we can serve each other. I need to be better about serving other people, but I also need to be better about receiving the service others are trying to give me. Man, I've been a parent for 17 days, and I am just like, wow. I don't know, women, how are we still here, you guys? How is humanity still here? Women are incredible. But we need to start talking, and we need to start reaching out, and we need to start receiving that help. So, about a week before I delivered, I had a shamanic astrology reading, which is more in depth than a normal astrology reading because it looks at every piece of your chart. And at the end of the 45 minutes of your Saturn is in this, and your moon, and your sun, and blah, 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 all over my head, it came down to this. My reader said, "Your job, Jessica, on this earth, you have one purpose according to the alignment of the stars at the moment you took your first breath." She said, "Your purpose on this earth is you are here to redefine family." The lion, he roars. I'm just gonna grab his bottle real quick. He said, "Amen, Mommy." Amen, Mommy. Oh, he's fine. Hi, did you just want to see? I am here to redefine family, and I am 17 days into that mission. Yes, my parents are in town for a very limited time, but I've got Uncle Gino and Uncle Joe and Uncle Eric. And I've got my friends, Aunt Wifey, Aunt Mama. Thank you for being my Alchemist family. Are you guys ready to do some alchemy? Yeah, thank you. So the alchemy is the part of the show where I channel a meditation and you get to actually do some very real energy work. So close your eyes. Your imagination is this video game control center that you operate with the universe. So I ask this divine artist that some of us call God, the holy matrix, the master of the quantum, the particle and the wave, to meet us in this now moment. Allow my words to guide a vision in your head. See yourself now in a cage. The first layer of your cage is made out of a very interesting material. Take note of what you see. This represents the piece of yourself that prevents you from asking for help. Maybe this layer of your cage is made out of steel. Maybe it's made out of wood. This is the layer of your cage that prevents you from asking for help. Right now, through your imagination, find a way to dissolve this layer of your cage. Maybe you use fire. Maybe you use water, Reiki, love. Watch it dissolve. As this layer of your cage dissolves, slowly turn a 360 degrees in your cage until you face the same place you just were again. We see the next layer of your cage. This is made out of a tree. Its branches weave and it keeps you trapped. This is the layer of your cage that keeps you from receiving love and service from the family God has given you on this earth through your community. What prevents you from building and receiving community? Ask yourself, how should you dissolve this tree? Choose a method and watch it wash away. turn 360 degrees one more time, facing that same place you started. You notice it's the last layer of your cage. It's made out of a web, a spider's web. Grandmother spider, her web surrounds you, ready to connect you to the family she has for you. There are pieces of this web that are broken that represent things that your family is suffering from, maybe in the past, maybe right now. Grandmother Spider comes in and she repairs the holes of your web. These are the wounds that prevent you from building and receiving community. She reminds us that there is nothing to be afraid of because we are held in the web of the one great spirit, the great mystery that we cannot know, but we must walk with faith. And as you repair the pieces of your web that were broken from the wounds of the family that you had growing up, that ruined your definition of family, that ruined your ability to trust the energy of family, we recognize now that we are not in a cage. We extend the web beyond what it is. Instead of dissolving it, it becomes bigger and bigger until it is the entire universe. We realize that what is not a cage is just the ether that our life is made up of, connecting us, weaving us. God, we ask you to bless this web. Let our family lines heal illness, sickness, and pain. Let us walk forward building ever many more connections, extending, redefining what family is, recognizing that we're all brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and grannies and grandpas to everyone. In God's house, we are one family. Amen.
Is it getting better? Or do you feel the same? Would it make it any easier on you now that you've got someone to blame? You say one love, one life, there's one need in the night. One love, and we get to share it. But I'll leave you, baby, if you don't care forever. Disappoint you, leave a bad taste in your mouth. You act like you never had them, and now you want me to go without. It's too late tonight to drag the past down into the light. But not the same. You've got to carry each other, carry each other. numbers in your head. That's too much, more than a lie. You gave me nothing, now it's all that I've got. We're one, but we're not the same, because we hurt each other and then we do it again. You say love is a temple, love that I adore. Love is a temple, love that I adore. You ask me to enter, then you make me crawl, but I can't keep holding on to what you got. But no, you got it, sir. One love, one life, one life. You got to do to each other. One love, we get to share, but it won't leave you, baby, if you don't care for it. Oh, oh. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I'm gonna do an original song here. become your heart. It's never too late to be who you are. Melt into yourself and become your heart. It's never too late to be who you are. Melt into yourself and become your heart. It's never too late to be who you are. Melt into yourself and become your heart. Well, it's never too late to be who you are. Melt into yourself and become your heart. It's never too late to be who you are. Melt into yourself and become your heart. It's never too late to be who you are. Melt into yourself and become your heart. It's never too late to be who you are. Melt into yourself and become your heart. Be a passion for your soul. Only once or twice you try to use your soul. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Eric Andersen, everyone. Woo! Yes. So, quick thing before the sermon gets started. The wonderful Mr. Eric Andersen, just so you know, has been accepted into a very exclusive, very prestigious songwriting retreat with Ben Folds. I know it. But he needs our help in supporting him on this journey because it costs quite a bit to go to this retreat. So there are blue baskets at the end of the show if you feel like supporting a homegrown, incredibly talented, amazing human being. If you don't know him, then please give to the baskets. They're by the door on the way out. I almost did my sermon with Azzy, but we were afraid that with my talking stick, I would bop him in the head. I don't like the word family. There, I said it. I was really nervous to say it because I actually had a hand in choosing this theme. We were going to do Destiny for Azzy's big reveal, and I was like, that's a lot of pressure. So why don't we do family? That's really nice. It's really lighthearted. It's really great and wonderful. I don't like the word family. And maybe when I said the word family, something comes up for you. Maybe it's something positive and wonderful, and it's rainbows and sunshines, and everything is wonderful. And maybe when I said family, you went to a really dark and uncomfortable place. And maybe when I said family, it was absolutely neutral. You didn't feel anything. And I'm here to say that's wonderful. Because I'm not here to tell you to feel a certain way. I'm not telling you to let go of wounds or trauma or anything that you feel like you need to hold on to. I'm not gonna tell you to not talk to your family, and I'm not gonna tell you to talk to your family. What you choose to do with your family is your choice. I'm just here to share my own experience. I don't like the word family. It makes me uncomfortable. It's like that coworker that for some reason you don't like, and everybody else does. And you can't really explain why you don't like this coworker. It's not like they did anything like egregiously offensive. Okay, maybe they took the last of the coffee that one time and they get your order wrong every single time the company eats out, no matter how many times you write it down for them. Or maybe they took credit for something that you said in a meeting, but they never really did anything that terrible to you. And then everyone comes up to you and they're like,
I don't understand. Why don't you like family? Oh, they're so great. We went over to their house for a party and it was so awesome. You just need to be more open-minded. You just need to be more accepting. You just need to be less judgmental of other people. You just need to give family a chance. The word family makes me uncomfortable, and that uncomfortableness manifests in a number of different facets in my life. Family-style eating is one anxiety attack waiting to happen. As someone who has struggled with their weight their entire life, family-style eating outside of a buffet format makes me really uncomfortable. Because I don't know what's expected of me. I don't know what's proper protocol. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Like, do you take small portions of everything the first go around, and then the second go around you take more of the things you like? But what happens if you don't want everything? Well, too late, it's already on my plate, and it would be really bad if I put that back on the plate. But wait, that person didn't take everything. They actually took more helpings of that thing that I actually wanted, but I don't want to seem like I'm super selfish, and I'm super greedy, and I'm super hungry. But if I don't take enough, people are like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you hungry? Why aren't you eating? But if I take too much, they think I'm greedy. And now everybody's staring at me because I'm holding the spoon to the same dish for like 20 minutes and it's getting cold. I don't like family-style dramas. I think they're really contrived. And really, unless that family is like vampire hunting, zombie killing, post-apocalyptic magicians, I really don't watch that kind of television because it seems kind of odd that these really inane problems are solved in the span of 20 to 40 minutes. And I got tired of growing up and not seeing families that looked like mine represented on TV, and so I just don't really watch that anymore. About 2 years ago, I started noticing that many of my female friends started calling their other female friends mama, and it made me super uncomfortable. I mean, as a gay man, I was used to calling other men, especially older men, daddy, but that is a whole other situation. But the intimacy that these women shared was so awe-inspiring and it was so beautiful, but it was really jarring the first couple times that I heard it. I didn't really understand it. I didn't really get it. Because I've realized in my life that I don't really understand family. Because see, in my life, family was something that people wielded. Family was a word that was placed before values, and groups and organizations wielded it like a malice, destroying people's futures and families. People who proclaimed family values legislated and determined what people could and couldn't do. We are at a brink as a country where legislation is breaking up families and deporting members of those families to other countries. We have families that are suffering massive losses in what seems to be an unstoppable mass chaos of gun violence, and it seems like there's nothing we can do, but we care so much about families. When I was 14 years old, my family ended as I knew it. My dad left my mom, and at the time, we were told that the reason why my dad left was because my sister and I were gay. And of course, I've learned later, through many therapy sessions and many interventions and many cry sessions and many wound healing, that that's not the case. That my parents are just humans. They were human beings that fell out of love with one another, and my dad decided to go and live his best life that didn't include my mom, my sister, or I. And when our family ended, we just became 4 people moving through this world, but separate. And I had this chip on my shoulder that I had somehow caused the demise of my family. And suddenly I was one of those kids from a broken home. So I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand it. I didn't understand the importance of family or why people wanted families because, see, families will lie to you, they'll cheat, they'll steal, they'll deceive you, they will pull love from you, and will do any number of things to show that they don't care about you. There are homeless youth on the streets right now because their parents and their households didn't want them. We have systems that are overcrowded with unwanted children. And this isn't a lecture about we need to be doing more, we need to be doing more. It's just, I don't understand the word family, and I don't understand what it means. And it seems like it's so important, and yet there are so many things that prove otherwise that it isn't. And when I left my household and I went to Wisconsin, I tried to find something because I felt lost and I felt broken and I felt that a family would fix me and save me and heal me. And so I went on a never-ending search to find family. And I found lots of families. And I'm going to tell you about some of them. So, of course, I'm gay and a drag queen. And let me tell you, I am a member of one of the largest families in the world. And it just keeps growing because it's the LGBTQASAKIIAS family. And isn't that fantastic? We just keep adding more people every single day. That's wonderful. We even have code phrase. You know, when you want to be on the down low and you want to find some information out, you just go, hey, are they family? Yes, they is. I went to school at UW-Madison, and let me tell you, I come across people from Wisconsin all the time. And every single time they find out that I went to UW-Madison, their eyes light up and they go, oh, you're a pitcher! Oh, well, gosh darn it, smack my bottom and call me a Packer. I love you. When I was in college, I joined a fraternity, so I have brothers all over this world. Ooh, I became a yoga teacher, so of course I have the yoga family. And because I teach at a number of different places, I kind of have like multiple yoga families. And then there's like the yoga families from other studios that you don't teach at, but like you know them and you're like, hey. I have a theater family, which, let me tell you, you have your immediate theater family, it's the people you do shows with, or the theater that you gravitate toward. But theater family is kind of like a really large extended family, you know, and you find out how many times you're removed from each other by the shows that you've done. I feel like I know you from somewhere. Oh my gosh, okay. I did The Importance of Being Earnest with Beth, who did God of Carnage with Tim, who did The Goat with Abe, and then you're dating Abe. Oh my God, this is like we're cousins. This is great. Oh yeah, I love you, family. And then I have my real love family. And I know many of you are part of the Real Love Brotherhood and Sisterhood, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And then I'm also part of the Alchemist tribe, which I'm also going to talk about a little bit later. I kept searching for all these families, and finding families, and finding families, and finding more families, and something felt incomplete. Something was missing. And what I realized is that I had all of these families that accepted me, well, accepted a part of me, the part that connected us. And with each of these families, I found that there was a certain amount of expectations. There was a role that I was intended to play. There was a way I was intended to being. And if I kind of deviated from that role, then there was always that fear that that family would turn its back on me. And it sent me right back to Michigan in that same household where I realized that from an early age, I had never been myself. I was constantly trying to be the peacekeeper of the family. I was constantly trying to evolve myself and adapt myself to whatever social situation I found myself in, because that's how you survive. That's how you survive, is you find out how the people want you to be, and then you do that. And I got really good at being a chameleon. I got really good at giving people exactly what I thought they wanted from me, until I realized that I didn't really even know who I was, and I didn't know what I wanted anymore. And I realized that beyond that thing that connected us, we didn't really have much in common. It's kind of like when, God bless people, I love people, but when people are like, oh, I have a gay friend, you should meet them. I think you guys would get along real well. Oh yeah? Well, how come? Well, because they're gay. And you're gay. And you can talk about gay things together. It'd be so great. And then we could like do stuff as a threesome. So I felt incomplete and unfulfilled because I realized that I had placed such need and expectation on all of these families, and it's really not their fault. It's not their fault that I felt disappointed by the interactions, that at some point it felt artificial or it wasn't enough, because I had a well that had an hole in it and it kept leaking, and I kept looking toward others to constantly fill me up, but it was an ongoing struggle because that well never got full. And so I kept searching, and I kept looking, and I kept searching. And when I was thinking about this sermon, I began to think, does creating all these families actually take us further away from our goal of one divine family? Is it just more separation? Is it just more division? Is it more isolation? Is the idea of one divine family too lofty of an idea? Is it too insurmountable of a goal, so it's not even worth pursuing? And then I had a freak out because I realized that there was one family that I totally didn't think about, and that was the divine family. And then I thought, ooh, crap. Because I basically treat God and Mama Gaia like my earth parents. Like, I only go to God when I need things. Like, 75% of our conversations is like me needing things, 25% is like holidays and like the dutiful call, you know? And God's like, I'm talking to you all the time. My dad's sending me text messages and emails, and I'm like, yeah, I'm super busy. I'm super busy. I've got other things going on, other things that I think are more important. And then, poor Mama Gaia. It reminds me of when I was a child. You know, moms, God bless moms, because they do so much behind the scenes that, like, ignorant children just aren't aware of. And providing and nourishing and feeding and all these great things. And yet there will be one thing that as an obstinate child, I'm gonna throw a tantrum over. And so right now it's like, great, Mother Earth, why don't you snow? That's so awesome. Thank you for snowing today. Not yesterday when I sat at home watching Netflix and reading. No, today when I have to run errands. Thank you so much for literally sleeting on my parade. Thank you so much for that. In all of my families, I was trying to figure out what was expected of me, how I could survive, how I could function, how I could be accepted by all these various groups. And then I thought about my divine family. And when you ask your divine family, what's your role? What is it that you need to do in order to be loved and accepted by these parents? And the message is resoundingly clear: you need do nothing. You need do nothing, because that love for you is unconditional, and it is pure, and it's simply because of who you are, and it has nothing to do with the things that you accomplish. It has nothing to do with the jobs that you will take. It has nothing to do with the relationships you will have. You just have it. And you get to do whatever you want with it. And let me tell you what I did from it. I ran from it, because I had a very sobering moment in my pursuit of family. Whenever we think about our lives, we always turn it inward on ourselves. We always examine our presence. We always examine how we show up. And what I realized was that I was not really a good son. I was not really a good son. I didn't really show up the way that I wanted to. I didn't really act in the manner that I knew the man that I could be. And I realized that I was still carrying that chip on my shoulder, that thought that he broke a household. And so that's all he's capable of doing, and he doesn't deserve a family. And so I did everything to prove that to myself and to every single person in my life. I pushed people away, and when they tried to get closer, I pushed them away even further. And when they tried to open me up, I ran like the Dickens so far away, and I do not run. I do not like doing it, but I ran and I hid. And I hid down a hole so deep that nobody would be able to find me in it. And then there were two families that did. My real love family, I had never been in a situation where nobody expected anything of me, that I was able to receive and not even allowed to say thank you. I was just expected to receive. And not even expected. I had the power of choice to receive it or not, but they were still going to continue to give it. And they showed up, and every time I pushed them away, they showed up again. And every time I distrusted that love, they proved it to me over and over and over again. And I didn't think that this love could exist, and I certainly didn't think that I deserved it. And over again, through tantrums and doubt and just any number of ways that maybe people in my past would have been like, well, screw that. We done with you. I'll wash my hands of you. They still show up. They show up on my doorstep. I would always say that something that really hurts is that my family is not here. And I have this whole life as an entertainer and performer, and my parents and sister have only seen me perform one time in all my plays and all my sermons, and they're watching right now, which is beautiful, but my real love parents are in every single audience of every single show that I've ever done. And I thought I then knew what family meant. I thought then that I finally got it. That moment of somebody loving you unconditionally changed me forever. And I'm going to try to do this next part without crying. My life changed June 24th, 2017, when Jess and Joe took me aside at a music festival. And I was not sober at the time. And they told me that they were expecting a child. And I couldn't have been more overjoyed and more happy for these two beautiful people to expand and grow their family. And then in that moment, they told me that the child-to-be had chosen me as his godfather. And I lost it because I didn't know why. Thinking about all the people that are in Justin Joe's world, all the people that he could have chosen, all the people who have nicer jobs or bigger homes or who have actually had children, or maybe even a stepping stone, they've had a dog and they know how to care for a living being. And I was so confused because I didn't understand why me? Why me? So I did an ayahuasca ceremony because whenever I have big spiritual questions, I go to the plant medicine and Pachamama. And I met Azzy Ray in some multi-dimensional field. And I asked, why me? That's all I wanted to know. Why me? And he said, who you are is going to help me become who I am. And so, as Jess was growing this beautiful child, I would have visions of Aslan and I. And it was always when he was older. It was like, I would be this recluse in some mountain. He would be like a teenager and he would traverse the tundra mountainside. and find me in some ashram or some temple. And he would bust through the doors and I'd be like, I've been waiting for you, my child. And we'd have some like Star Wars Yoda Skywalker thing going on. This is great. And everybody was obsessing about the baby. I'm like, you can have the baby. You can, fine, it's babies. I've seen babies. Which was great because there was like a contingency that was like, great, because the second he becomes like an adolescent, I wash my hands of him. I want the baby. I'll never forget the moment. I had just shot a movie and I was outside for like 8 hours in the cold. It was one of those Sundays where it snowed, Mama Gaia. And it was the first time that I could see Azzy Ray. And I rushed over to the DAYLOVER house. Because I was like, I'm Rafiki, I gotta pay my respects, to the king. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna pay my respects, I'll see you on a mountain in 16 years. And when Jess put him in my arms, my whole world changed. I didn't think I could love someone as much as I love that boy. I didn't think that my heart could be so full. But when I hold that child, I breathe in the infinite of God's purest love. When I smell his head, I assume that's what heaven looks like. And when I look at his sleeping face, I assume that's what God looks like. I love that boy. Earlier when I asked God, what do we do as divine children? And God's first answer was, you need do nothing. But what about everything that's happening in this world right now? We can't just do nothing. And God's like, you need to be a steward. And I've heard this word before. I've heard it before. And I'm like, yeah, God, I got it. We need to be a steward of this earth. We need to manage the resources. We need to, take care of ourselves, take care of this planet, take care. And he's like, no, shut up. God can be quite forceful, especially when I be prattling on about insignificant things. And God's like, you need to be stewards for each other. That's what you need to be stewards of, the most precious gift on this earth. And when I hold that child, I know what it means to be a steward. I would do anything for him. I would do anything for that boy. And I'm honored that he chose me because I will do everything in my power to guide him and to nurture him and to love him. And that love is so pure because I don't need anything from him. Oh, he could be screaming and I think it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. He can fart on me and I think it's adorable. I never knew what it was to love without need. I don't need him to like me. I don't need him to love me. I don't need him to do anything. I just need him to be exactly who he is in any given moment. But I think as he has so many people in his life, so many people that are standing up for him, so many people that will serve as guardians, that will serve as godparents. And I think, what about everyone else? What about everyone else? If my love can be for a child that's not even my own, if I can have such pure, radiant love for a being that I don't even know, then why can't I apply it to every single being on this planet? And so maybe that's what a steward is. Maybe a steward is showing up and is the ways in which we can serve in each and every moment. And maybe that serving is a hug. Maybe it's a smile. Maybe it's a wave. It's a kind word. It's a way to open ourselves up because yes, we can be part of one divine family. It is so possible, and Aslan is an example of that. People stepping up that don't even know him, that are showing such courageous kindness and unconditional love. And I'm challenging myself to do that for every single person I come across, to let go of the wounds that have been holding me back, the cage around my heart, because our hearts are the most powerful resource that we have on this planet. And so be stewards of your hearts, ladies and gentlemen. Do not fear, and open yourself up to pour love out to every being on this planet. God bless.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby, just call out my name. I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough
To keep me from getting to you, babe.
I set you free.
So you can always count on me, darling.
From that day on, I'm ready to bow. I'll be there when you want me, somewhere from high. 'Cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough
To keep me from getting to you, babe.
know that ain't our family.
I got all my sisters in me.
We are family. Everybody gotta sing. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing.
I hit the mute button. There it is. Thank you all for coming out. Check us out the last Wednesday of every single month. This beautiful baby boy right here. Thank you, H Andersen. Thank you to our band, H Andersen. Every single one of you, we love you so much. Have a good night.